Hello everyone, this is Colin once again. I'm making this quick video because I just happened to go by Ahmed's Quran 3's account and wanted to see if he had posted any new videos on his channel, and he must be busy because he hasn't posted any new ones. And I just happened to scroll down his main page here in the comments section on his main page, and someone who claims to be an ex-Muslim by the name of Zulfi Tareen asked him a question. I guess now the Ahmed's Quran 3 has proven to many of the haters here on YouTube that he can actually answer their questions. I guess now people are coming to him for a Q&A session. And apparently this question is the following. It was posted about 22 hours ago, and the person says, "Hi, you mentioned in one episode that the Tower of Babel is in Iraq, but Muhammad claimed in Quran that it was in Egypt. I tried to check it. Quran mentions the tower, but it does not name it as Babel Tower. Can you send me more information about it?" And then signs it Sulfi, in parentheses, ex-Muslim. Now, a couple hours after that, Ahmed's Quran 3 actually responds by saying, Zulfi Tareen, the name Babel is not mentioned, but it is alluded to, especially since the Muhammadan exegetes tell us that it means Babel, because in the Bible they built it to approach God, just as Pharaoh was attempting to do. Okay, so basically, Ahmed's Quran 3 does a really sly tactic here. He does confess that the Quran does not by name mention that the tower that Pharaoh orders his high priest to build for him, he admits that it's not by name called Babel or the Tower of Babel, but he says that that the Muslim exegetes allude to this. So, thing is that I really think Ahmed's Quran 3 actually believes that his followers are a bunch of idiots. I know I say this a lot. I know I've been saying it at least within the past few videos against him, but I'm convinced of it. I mean, honestly, this is how pathetic he is. He actually, instead of encouraging this person, this ex-Muslim, to do further research, he instead just says, "Oh, no, you're right. It doesn't mention it by name, but the Muslim exegetes do allude that it is the Tower of Babel." Well, I'm here to say that that's complete horse crap. That's not true at all in any sense of the term. I'm going to rain off a list and then put links in the description section that discuss this topic in detail. Now, first off, he is right. The Tower of Babel is not mentioned at all in the Quran, and even as a source like the Complete Idiot's Guide to Understanding Islam makes it very clear that the Tower of Babel, in the story of the Tower of Babel, is not mentioned anywhere in the Quran. That's a very simple source. Alright, for those of you out there who just want to go to the cut and dry, black and white sources, there's nothing wrong with that. The Complete Idiot's Guides series and the Dummies series are great books. But if you're interested in those, the Complete Idiot's Guide to Understanding Islam makes it very clear that the Tower of Babel is not, in the story, is no way mentioned in the Quran at all. Now let's go to the more advanced sources. I will put in the description section the link to the Tafsir of Ibn Kathir for the two instances where Pharaoh orders his high priest to build the tower. It's Surah 28:38 and Surah 46, I believe it's, Surah 40 verses 36 through 37. And I'll post both links from the Tafsir of Ibn Kathir. Notice how the story of the Tower of Babel and the fact that any sort of alluding at all is not in the Tafsir of Ibn Kathir. Just note that when you look through those sources. Also post a link to the altafsir.com website. You can go through each individual Tafsir's exegesis to see if they mention the Tower of Babel. Now, I'd like to point out something. If you know the story of the Tower of Babel, the person in the narrative, the tower is actually constructed, but then it's destroyed, and then all of humanity is divided because of the language barrier. This is how the Bible explains why we speak in multiple languages. Now, note that if this story is seriously a ripoff of the tower, if this is indeed the Tower of Babel in the Quran, then the tower should have been constructed. Now, let's go to one of the earliest Tafsirs, and you can go to this yourself. I'll post the link on the Al-Tafsir website. It's a Tafsir Ibn Abbas. And this is for Surah 40, Ayah 37. Let's read what it says. The roads of the heavens, the gates of heaven, and may look upon and may see the God of Moses, whom he claims is in heaven, has sent him to me. Though verily I think him a liar, there is no God in heaven. But he, meaning Pharaoh, got too busy with Moses, and the tower was not built. Thus was the evil that he made fair seeming unto Pharaoh, and he was debarred from the right way, and he was prevented from the truth and guidance. The plot of Pharaoh ended but in ruin and disarray. So what does Ibn Abbas, one of the earliest commentators on the Quran, one of the earliest tafsir writers on the Quran, say about this verse? The tower that Pharaoh ordered was never built. So therefore, if this is really alluding to the Tower of Babel, the tower would have to have been constructed. But thus we see, according to the earliest tafsirs, the tower was never constructed. Now, those are the tafsirs. Those are these exegesis that Ahmad's Quran 3 he himself alludes to. But there are more than that. Let's look at some of the modern commentators. Here I have one of the most literal translations of the Noble Quran, published out of Saudi Arabia. They have no, the commentary for this is absent. They have no commentary alluding to any biblical story with those verses. I have the meaning of the Holy Quran by Abdul Yusuf Ali. Once again, Abdul Yusuf Ali does not mention the Tower of Babel, or that these verses are mentioning the Tower of Babel. Muhammad Asad, it's a very huge book, I have it in the other room. His commentary, which he bases off the earliest tafsirs and commentaries of the Quran, he makes it very clear that this is referring to the pyramids being built, and yet he also mentions that, and yet what's absent from his commentary based on the earliest tafsirs is that this is not referring to the Tower of Babel. The story is not even alluded to. And last but not least, I have the glorious Quran here, translated by Abdul Majid Darabi, which is considered one of the most interesting comparative religious commentaries for the Quran in other religions. In other words, this sheikh and this scholar takes time out of his busy life for his commentary on the Quran to mention biblical sources and things like this. So this is actually the first Quran I picked up, because if the Tower of Babel would be mentioned or alluded to in any commentary or any exegesis, then it would be in this Quran, and what do you know? This sheikh doesn't even mention or allude to the Tower of Babel in his commentary. Last but not least, I'm going to put a link to IslamicAwareness.org, where they refute the idea that has been purported by Orientalists and haters against Islam since the 17th century, that the Quran ripped off this story from the Bible, and that it's the Tower of Babel, and that they mixed up the Pharaoh with the book of Esther, etc., etc., etc. So I'll post that link in the description section as well, which will put to rest this purported lie that people like Ahmad's Quran 3 make against Islam and against the Quran itself. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. Again, I want to make it very clear, having quoted Ahmad's Quran 3 himself, he does make it clear that Babel is not mentioned, but it is, he says, it is alluded to, especially since the Mohammedan exegetes tell us that it means Babel. I'd like to point out that is false, that is a lie, and once again, I have caught Ahmad's Quran 3 lying to people. Thank you everyone for watching. Peace be with you all.